Hey everyone, welcome back to the Juke. And if you're not a returning viewer, you should be embarrassed because I've been posting videos on this channel. Yeah, you must have come across my content. And if you haven't, fear not, it's still there. You can snoop around after watching this video, of course. Today I have with us Haval H6, and everyone has been talking about this brand, Haval, and yeah, I felt a bit left out since I haven't spoken about it yet, but here we are. Haval H6, nice car. I'm just taking you through a 360 view of the car, and one thing you'll see that it's got a look of its own, and it's nice to see that coming from a Chinese manufacturer. I don't mean to diss them or anything, but cars coming from that region, you'd be like, that's a Range Rover Evo, that's an X5, but it doesn't look like they've copied anything here. It's nice to see that it has its own distinct look, and it looks like a Haval H6. In terms of the wheels, I don't think you'd be shortchanged here either. You get 18-inch rims, and the design team didn't sleep on this either. You get sort of like a diamond cut effect with smoky charcoal kind of contrast in the rim. These are 18 inches, and you still get a bit of sidewall, which should help with the comfort of this car, but I'll get to that closer to the end of this video when I drive the car. The wheel arch is surrounded by some plastic cladding, so stone chips and stuff will be taken care of, and your car will look as you bought it for quite some time, I would imagine. Taking a closer look at the front of this car, it's got a good mix of aggression and luxury. Like if someone told you this is the GT version of this car, if the GT didn't exist, you would be like, okay, I can see the sportiness in this. And if someone told you this is the luxury version, you'd probably be like, I can see the elegance in this. Up front, you have full LED headlamps, and even the fog lamps are LED as well, complementing that big chromey grille. Moving around the back of this car, you'll find the badging that tells you it's a H6 2.0 liter GDIT. Now, when I first got this car, I thought this was a diesel. I drove it for quite some time thinking it was a diesel engine since it's a bit grumpy, only to find out it's a petrol powered 2-liter turbocharged engine in all the variants. So whether you got the premium, the luxury, or the super luxury, you're going to get the same turbocharged 2-liter engine. And as you just saw, I had to use some elbow grease there to open the tailgate. Yeah, unfortunately in the premium and in the luxury, you don't get the luxury of a powered tailgate. That's only in the super luxury. So if you don't like opening the tailgate yourself, you're gonna have to go for the super luxury. So I do have some props there to show you or to illustrate how much boot space there is in this car, or cargo space as some people would refer to it. So I have like a mid-sized suitcase there, and a box, and in that box is a blanket. So if you know how big a blanket box is, you can put it side by side with a normal, let's say a mid-sized suitcase, and still have enough room to close the lid cover. So in South Africa, having a lid cover over the contents inside your car is very important. So for those of you interested in the numbers, the boot space in the Haval H6 is 600 liters. So there you have a handle just to help you lower the tailgate, which is nice to have in my opinion. I always appreciate cars that create something to grab onto, so that you're not always like trying to be creative and smudging maybe the lip of the boot with, I don't know, greasy fingers for, I don't know, maybe you had some chicken or something, now you need to close the boot, now you got grease on your boot lid. So this is the luggage of all the people I was traveling with. So we were 5, and this is all our luggage fit in there. So this is the boot without anything in it, and the floor can lift, which is where you will find your spare wheel and some accessories. Now I found this out after filming this, so this floor can be lowered further if you would like just a little bit of extra cargo space in addition to the 600, or you can leave it lifted. So right now it's in its like upper position, and you can hide some stuff in there. I don't know what you'd want to hide under the boot floor, but yeah, you do have a little bit of extra room under the boot floor in case you want to use it to conceal something. I don't know what you want to conceal there, but it's there if you need it. And that spare wheel is a biscuit spare wheel, as we would say in South Africa, and for the rest of the world that just means it's a space saver spare wheel. That means it's slightly narrower than the wheels you ordinarily have on the car. Now we're gonna pop the hood right open. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I was Superman, so I'm holding the camera and I thought I could like pop the hood and keep it open while filming, but I couldn't. So you're gonna see me put the camera down, and then yeah, I had to pause, fix that little arm that holds the bonnet up, and then yeah, show you what the engine looks like. I don't know why I keep showing you the engine. I don't know, maybe it's my little thing where I want to see the engine I'm buying. Maybe I'm that kind of a guy. So this is the 2-liter turbocharged engine. Usually when a car has a turbo, I show the turbo, but remember, at the time of filming, I thought this was a diesel. And those of you that know your cars, you'll be like, but Dukes, usually diesels are turbo diesels, so you should have shown the turbo anyway. So I don't know why I wasn't looking for a turbo. So I was just filming the engine and not necessarily looking for the turbo. And with that being said, like I hardly miss a turbo when it's there, but maybe it's because I wasn't looking for it. But that's the engine. Moving to the back seat, we'll start with the rear doors. It's a nice door. I like the design. I like the choice of materials used on the doors. It's got a little bit of gray. It's got some speakers in the doors. That's the tweeter there. Below it is the speaker. It's got some nice soft touch, like leather-like material. It's got some piano black by the window switch there. We also have a door bin, which is nice in the back seat. It's not big enough to fit a water bottle, but you have a door bin nonetheless. You could put sunglasses, some chips, your cell phone there, so it doesn't, move around in the car as you're driving. It's a nice door. It's got, I'd say, everything you'd want in a door. Taking a look at the seating in the back seat, the rear seats sort of carry the front seats design in terms of the creases and the flattish bottom. It's sort of like they took the front seat and just put in the back seat, which is a nice thing sometimes. I think it's nice in this case. You can fit 3 adults in the back seat, like 3 regular sized adults, and all 3 people in the back seat will have a seat belt, and you get a 3-point seat belt for all 3 passengers in the seat. Even the middle passenger gets a 3-point seat belt and not just one of those lap belts. Not much of a floor hump in the sort of like this carrying on from the center console, so you can put your feet there, but I think an adult would like have 1 foot on either side of that hump over there. There's a bit of a hump, but not too much of a hump that would be in the way of someone sitting there. In the back seat you also get air vents, not climate controls per se, but air vents nonetheless, and you get 2 USB ports in the back. So these are normal USB, I think these are called USB type A. So you get USB type A ports in the back, 2 of them, which is nice to see that rear passengers are catered for in terms of charging and all that, because everybody's got a cell phone nowadays, right? You also get some pockets in the rear seats. As you can see, someone shoved a bottle in there. You get pockets to put stuff, documents or papers that you might have and you don't want them getting creased elsewhere in the car. You get pockets behind the passenger and the driver's seat, which is quite nice. In terms of the room in the back seat, I'll show you just in a minute that I fit in there just fine. You also get a nice big panoramic sunroof. Yeah, that goes all the way to the back, makes it look really airy, really roomy, really bright inside the entire car, all the way to the back seats, which is a very nice feature, and this is standard, just by the way. You also get sun blind, which is electrically operated. So if you don't want the sun, let's say it's a really sunny day and the sun is scorching you in the car, you can just close the sun blind and have that covered. This is an aerial view of that panoramic sunroof, and I think it looks great. Not that you'd be getting many aerial views of your Haval H6, but this is the view in case you decide to take an aerial view of it. And here I'm just going to climb into the back seat and use myself as a prop. So I'm 1.7, as you might know if you've been watching my videos, and I'm sitting behind my driving position, and there's plenty of room in the back seat. Like a quarter of my arm is overhang from my knee to the driver's seat. Lots of room, lots of headroom, no sloping roof, so lots of headroom, lots of knee room in the back seat. And the front door is really just a copy of the rear door, or the rear door is a copy of the front, which isn't a bad thing if they look good. Like both the front and the back doors look really nice, like the arrangement of materials as I mentioned. So in the front door, the only difference is you have window switches for all the windows, you have the mirror controls in the door, and the door bin has sort of like a groove for a water bottle. It's not very big. I think you can fit up to a 750 to 800 milliliter water bottle. Yeah, it's not the biggest water bottle storage area you can find in a car. I just want to mention, I don't know if you can see it, but the piano black is sort of like an attraction for fingerprints. Yeah, so you might want to carry around a little cloth just to keep wiping down the piano black area. The front seats in the Haval H6 are electronically adjustable, so you can move them up and down and change the angle of the backrest electronically, and also move the entire seat back and forth. What you cannot do is adjust your lumbar support in the seats in the Haval, and you also can't change the angle of the base, so you can't adjust your, let's say, thigh support in here. You also can't extend the base, so for thigh support you don't have any options to support that, which is a shame because the seating in the Haval H6 is rather flat and it's not really much of a bucket type seat, so it doesn't really hug you. So some thigh support options or arrangement options would have gone a long way. You also don't get heated seats in this model that we're reviewing today. This is the luxury. You don't get heated seats in the luxury. If you want heated seats, you need to upgrade to the top spec super luxury. You get a floating center console in the Haval H6, which is really nice as a design. It's a nice quirky feature. I like it. It's something different, something weirdly nice. You also get a USB port on just below the floating console and a 12-volt socket. So the USB port on the driver side is just for charging. So if you want to use your Android Auto and your Apple CarPlay, which are both wired, so this is not wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you need to use the USB port that's on the passenger side. So I don't know if that's train smash for some of you, because the cable, you could just have a cable in there all the time and just have the lead to the driver's seat if you're going to be using the Android Auto more than your passengers are. So it's not a biggie for me. You also get a center console with a fold away sort of cup holder or cup balancer there. Yeah, the center console is also piano black, so you might want to carry around a cloth for that as well. And finally, we get to take the Haval H6 out on a drive. So we're just pouring some fuel here. And the tank in this car is 70 liters. So if you're the kind of person who likes pouring a full tank instead of a couple of bucks here and there, I don't think you'll be visiting the pumps very often, because it has a 70 liter fuel tank. That's the capacity of the fuel tank. and the consumption is not bad. I think I was averaging below the claimed 9.8 for combined urban and highway driving. So I was driving, I think I averaged about 8 liters per 100 kilometer. So Haval claims 9.8 for combined. I think I was averaging about 8 liters per 100 kilometer. And if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope you've been entertained this far. And if you have, please don't forget to like this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. There's plenty more content coming your way. And if you think someone else would be interested in a video like this, feel free to share. Now, back to the Haval H6. Now, behind the wheel of a Haval H6, it's a pleasant place to be, depending on who you ask. As I mentioned before, the seating position could be improved with a little bit of thigh arrangement options. So yeah, the seating position is just okay. In terms of the steering, you can adjust it to a sporty or light steering if you want. And you have plenty of driving features to help you in this car, or driving aids as we would call them. So as you can see above the speed there, I hope you can see it, there's a red and white dot above the speed in the instrument cluster. That is the speed limit of the zone I'm in. So if I'm in an 80 zone, it'll show me there that I'm in an 80 zone. If I'm in a 120 zone, it'll show me that I'm in a 120 zone. And if I go near the speed limit, it tells me that I'm about to exceed the speed limit for the road that I am on. You can switch it off if you want to. If you know that you're a bit on the heavy footed side, you can switch it off. You also get radar cruise control. So as you can see, this car is detecting the truck in front of me, and I can switch on the radar cruise control, which is pretty easy to use. This was my first time driving the Haval H6, and I got used to the system very quickly. You can lock your speed to the truck in front of you. So it's got radar cruise control, it's got lane departure, or is it lane keep assist? Yeah, lane keep assist in the car. You also have this really cool feature that every time you indicate, it switches on the 360-degree cameras, and if you're like indicating to the right, it zooms on the camera on the right, so you don't curb your tires. I don't know how many people curb their tires very often. I do, but it's not very often. But it's nice to have that feature that if you are turning to either the right or the left, it zooms into that wheel, so you know what's near your car in the direction that you are turning to. So if you turn to the right, it shows you to the right. If you're turning to the left, it shows you what's happening on the left. So if you're driving this car and you curb your rims, you want it to curb your rims. And for those of you who would like to know more about what you get on that 12.3 inch infotainment system, I did a separate video on that. I'll leave the link in the description of this video. So it's a whole video on its own, this infotainment system. It's got a lot of features in it. And I just want to mention that in the luxury and in the premium, you get 6 speakers in the car, which is just okay. It's not a bad system, it's just an okay system that you get in this car. It's a 6-speaker system. In the super luxury, that's where you would get 8 speakers with your car. So by 8 speakers, like if you have that tweeter and mid arrangement, they count that as 2 speakers. So yeah, don't be surprised if you only count like 4, whereas yeah, they count 8. And in terms of wind noise and road noise, so I was doing mostly highway driving, so I was driving quite fast. I'd say I was averaging about between 90 and 100 kilometers per hour. And I noticed that there is some road noise, as in like noise coming from the tire, and some wind noise. But it's not something, I don't think it's something you'd pick up if you're not listening for it. So I knew I'm gonna have to talk about that, so I was kind of listening for it, and hence I noticed it. But for the regular driver that just gets in their car, switches on their radio, and just wants to get to where they're going, it won't be something you pick up. You won't be like, oh my gosh, there's this road noise interfering with the radio or with my music. You won't pick it up. So, and in terms of some performance figures, 0 to 100 is acclaimed 7.9 seconds, which is not too bad, but I think it's a good reflection of this car's overall performance. So I was in the front wheel drive. You can get an all-wheel drive version of the luxury and super luxury in South Africa, but this was the front wheel drive version. And yeah, like I said, the engine is a bit of a screamer. You really need to, yeah, really put your foot down and get that turbo working to get some performance out of it. It's not bad, it's just not very good. It's not a wow. I don't think it's a good selling point for this car. So it's a bit of a screamer. You really need to work the engine to get some performance out of it. Also, on that front wheel drive point, so during my weekend with this car, so I went to a wedding and I had to find some parking for this car. So I was parking just off the side of the road, and I had to do some mini, off-roading there. And yeah, I got into one of those weird situations where one of my tires, front tires, wasn't getting enough grip, and it had that slip effect where one of my wheels are spinning and the car is not going anywhere. Yeah, it looks really awkward in a SUV. Like, I think if you're buying a Haval H6, I would opt for the all-wheel drive version, just so you don't get into those awkward situations. Because when you see a SUV, when you see a slightly raised ride height, you would kind of think that it's a capable car of just parking off the side of the road. And then when you see wheel spinning, it just looks awkward. So on that end, I'd say opt for the all-wheel drive version. I'm not sure how that performs on the road. I haven't driven it yet. This is the front wheel drive. The front wheel drive, if you're not going to be doing any off-road parking, should be just fine for you. Before I let you guys go, I just want to talk about this color real quick. To me, I see blue, either like a metallic powder blue or something. Haval calls this color energy green. Energy green. I'm not making this up. You can go on their website. This is called energy green. Let me know what you think about this color in the comments, because I see blue here and I'm not making this up. And that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I did a good job in taking you through the Haval H6. Like I said, if I did, do leave a thumbs up so I know you enjoyed it. Share this video if you can. Hit the notification bell because there's more content coming your way. And subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what you think about this car in the comments, guys. And until the next video, I'll see you then. Cheers, everyone.